Damien, thank you for taking the time to share your story with us today. We've chosen you to be our hairdressing icon, which is, a story that we would love to share with South Australia. So Damien, tell me, how did you start hairdressing?
Well, I probably accidentally fell into hairdressing, I think. I think I was at school and wasn't really feeling it, and struggling a little bit. So I got an opportunity to get a working as an apprentice in a hair salon. So just started working in the salon. That's where it all started.
And in that time, apprenticeships were really, really popular. I mean, I remember applying for an apprenticeship myself, and, the competition to get into an apprenticeship was pretty significant. How was it for you getting an apprenticeship?
Well, I was lucky because my uncle owned a salon. but ultimately, though, too, in those times, there used to be lineups for the apprenticeships. Like it was extremely popular job, and you had to really work hard for it. So even for myself, even though my family was in the trade, I worked for Lily, I think about 10 months for free on a Thursday night and Saturdays, and just helped out and helped do the cleaning up, tea and tidy as you'd call it, and then got offered the apprenticeship at Christmas time and took it on.
And you were discussing with me earlier that you initially started barbering, you started men's cutting initially in that time. How was that for you, and then transitioning into ladies?
Yeah, I think that was the way it was done then. So, it has changed now. We run a different sort of plan altogether. But at that time, you used to go into men's hairdressing straight away, and you learnt your men's trade. And then you went from men's hair cutting to ladies' hair cutting to colour to styling and so on and so on. It was. I guess it was tricky because you go straight into a little sort of barbershop environment and cutting men's hair from a very early stage in your career. But it's a great way of learning. It's like getting thrown into the water, I guess, and you have to swim. But for us now, we probably more likely start with styling, and then go on to ladies' hair cutting, and go on to men's, and go on to colour. So it's a bit of a different format, and we find that works a lot better for us now than going straight into men's with our hair salon.
So if you had someone starting in the industry today in 2025, what would be the training or education that you would recommend for someone to go into hairdressing today?
Okay, so for me, hairdressing I don't think it's a default or a tradeism. I think it's a choice you should make. And I think that's sometimes the problem that people have. It's like, oh, I'm going to do that now, and that's a second option, or, this is a worst case scenario kind of thing. So for me, hairdressing is a great career. Any trade's a great career. So for me, I think you work hard at school and you learn as much as you can, and then you make that your plan, that you're going to go into an apprenticeship. And you can go into an apprenticeship earlier. You can do it from school-based as well. So you can do both things, or you can finish your year 12 and come straight into an apprenticeship. So for me, I think that should be your plan. And then when you come into the salon, obviously, you got a 4-year apprenticeship, which I think is amazing. It's a great place to start your work career. And, you're learning the fundamentals to start. And I think it's a great way of going about it.
And that's a really good word that you use there, fundamentals. Often people think that, post-apprenticeship, they're ready to, just complete their career and then just start behind the chair. In your experience, you just said you think the career starts once you've finished the apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Do you believe hairdressers should, further train after their 4th year?
Yeah, I think we should set our standards really high. For me, when people start with me at Boris, we always talk about that. I feel like you will complete your apprenticeship, but for me, 10 years of experience is probably when you start hitting your straps. And it's going to be tricky before that. It's not going to be easy all the time. And I think that's what people think. I think you should get through 3-4 years. I want to be qualified. I'm going to know everything. No, you don't. It's a hard trade. It's got so many layers to it of development, and it's always moving forward as well. It's a fashion industry, which makes it exciting and amazing, but it does take time. And I feel like after 10 years, you will feel more competent. It's just ongoing. I feel like today I'm still learning today, all the time.
And, that being said, you've had, a very illustrious career. You said 25 years here at your store in Norwood on the Parade, beautiful salon. But outside of your salon life, you've actually had a very, very, very diverse career. To name a few things, you're ambassador for many brands. Tell us a little bit about your ambassadorship.
Yeah, for me, that's been amazing. And it's sort of, that wasn't the goal when I first got into it. I just wanted to be a good hairdresser. And I think a lot of young people that come into this industry don't feel super good about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're not going to be successful. And I think when I got involved in hairdressing, it was the first thing I started doing well. I remember going to a competition and winning it, and then winning a trip to Melbourne. And then, funny enough, that was the first time I'd ever gone to Melbourne. So, my whole life, 16 years, I'd never travelled. I came from a very poor background and we didn't have a lot of money. So that wasn't an option for us. Holidays weren't a thing. So for me, that was my first trip ever interstate, was going to Melbourne, and I'd won a competition and went to the Nationals and didn't win, but that was okay. It was part of that achievement, and started really feeling like this is something I can do. And I loved that part of it. I was very competitive, so that helped. And just through the years of competing and doing well, and I guess that's competitions and those sort of things they are milestones in your career. And from those milestones, you actually do start getting opportunities. And I think after winning quite a few awards through my apprenticeship, L'Oreal came along and offered me a chance to go on the artistic team. And firstly, it was going to country towns, going to Mount Gambier, going up to the top of Australia, Cairns, Darwin, all these places, and just sort of, really cutting my teeth in that sort of part of it. And ultimately started doing more and more work, and then hitting the big cities, hitting Melbourne, Sydney, doing that a lot, Perth, doing the whole of Australia. And then ultimately from that, then I got the opportunity to go international. So I started flying around the world doing hairdressing. So, which is, it's daunting at times, but sometimes I just had to pinch myself. You're on a train, out of Portugal, and you're going, I'm a hairdresser and I'm doing this sort of work, and it's pretty incredible. But it comes from working hard and really pushing yourself. And I think that's, then from there I got another ambassadorship with Dyson as well. So that's another international job that I've been doing as well. So it's been amazing, which is a tech company. So again, it's another layer. These things keep it interesting. I think if you don't keep doing things, you will get bored. That's the same as any industry, and you've got to keep yourself busy. So it's been amazing, really. From the kid that never got to travel once to, it's like, get me off
all
a plane.
Over the world.
I feel like it's my limit of how many planes one's going to crash one day, because I've gone too many of them.
That's amazing. And look, that's another really interesting layer. So, you go from being a hairdresser on the floor, you're negotiating, business deals with, like you said, not just hairdressing brands, but you're negotiating contracts and endorsements with, tech companies. So in that realm, who taught you, or how did you learn how to do those negotiations?
Well, I guess these things have changed. And that's what's been amazing about hairdressing, though, because I think at the start, when you were a hairdresser, maybe you're just a hairdresser, but
correct,
you're not
correct.
just, So I guess over time, there's been that more respect to hairdressing and what we can do. And I guess I've learned on the cuff, really, because it's been a new generation. Mm-hmm. From when I first started, it was very different. There was no social media. There was none of that stuff. So you really were just trying to push yourself.
Yes.
So I guess, learnt on the go, and I guess I now can pass that information on to other people, how I'd approach it. There's some things I'd do very differently, obviously, but that's how you learn, and you keep working at it.
Fantastic. With your international travel, you did say you never expected to, be in that position. What do you think your family's perception of you doing this, work is? Like, you use the term just inverted comma, a hairdresser, which I find quite ironic because, you can be just a plumber or just an electrician, trades the same. But what's been your family's, take on all your international success?
Oh, I think my family are very proud, but it's just become who I am. Yes. I think my mum got used to me not knowing where I was, and her ringing me and saying, I'm in France. She goes, are you going to tell me? I said, I was going to tell you, Mum, but I just caught the plane. So that happened very quickly. So I think it just became part of who I am, and it's what I do. So I guess, privately, they're probably very proud of me and what I've done and what I've been able to achieve. I was always a high achiever. I always wanted to do well. And that those things fueled me, like not with my family, but with other people, like just a hairdresser, or, people going, I should be a hairdresser, I'd be able to travel too. Like, really that sort of downplay of our industry. And I think that really fueled my fire. And when I first started too, this is a South Australian thing too, like, because there was no social media, I remember a lot of South Australians saying, don't worry about all the competitions. You'll never win Australian hairdresser. You'll never win that. You're from South Australia. For me, that's like, no, I can. I want to prove it. Yes. And that really was what fueled me. That always fuels me still today, that people can sort of have an opinion about something, but we can change that opinion.
And saying that, you have won some, amazing awards in your time. Tell me which one's the most significant to you and why.
Probably the first one, because I got to travel to go to Melbourne. that was junior blow drying, RHS. So, which basically I'd been trained exactly to do it like this, and that's how you did it. So I didn't really know how to blow dry. I just knew how to do that blow dry. So it wasn't very that helpful in the salon, but you learn how to hold the brush and things like that. So that would be one of, but really for me, probably winning Colour Trophy in 2004, because that'd been a goal for me for a long time to win L'Oreal Colour Trophy, and it took a long time. I was a finalist quite a few times, and then, you know, at that moment when they called my name out of Melbourne to win the whole award, I mean, it was like it was for me a huge achievement, and I think it gave me the belief. I felt like, well, if I can do that, I can really, you know, do anything. I can keep pushing hard and keep doing it, because you know, there's always those doubters, and the doubters in your own brain as well that maybe you can't. So that was significant for that. And then from there, probably there's 3, and then winning my first Australian Hairdresser of the Year award. So you know, which I was told so many times that as a South Australian would never win it, and we've had multiple winners now from South Australia.
We absolutely have. And tell us about the significance of winning the Australian Hairdresser of the Year. Like, what does that mean?
Well, I guess it means a lot for yourself, because it's a milestone. It's probably where you stand in the industry as well. So I think that's sort of like, it goes onto your CV, and that's one you can't ever change. You know, that's one that probably when you're talking about working for brands and all those things, that is significant, because when they see you're a 3 times Australian Hairdresser of the Year, it's going to be something they want to buy into, you know. Because I think to achieve that, you have to sort of have some structure to what you do. There's no fluking it.
Can't do it on the whim.
It doesn't happen like that. It's not one of those things. I think I was a 7-time finalist for Australian Hairdresser. So, you know, I'd been in those rooms 7 times not winning, and that's sometimes what people think now. Is like, oh, you'll be right. You can win everything. It wasn't like that for me. I did sit there 7 times as a finalist and get told, no, you're not good enough. You're not winning this yet. And that's sometimes where your strength comes from. So I think, and you have to go back and refresh and think, okay, what can I do better now? Can't blame, you know. You can have a day of blaming. You can go, oh, the judges, or they don't understand. They don't rigged. You can have a day or 2. But then you're going to get over it and think about what you can do better and where you can go from here. So I think those things are significant, because you don't realise how much better you're becoming while you're doing that.
It's fantastic. And, you know, your work that has won you these accolades, you know, I mean, I've been fangirling from the behind the scenes for some time. I remember when you won your Colour Trophy. I remember seeing your collections coming up as an artist. Like, your work is very intricate. It's very precise, simple, but very, very detailed. My observation of your work is.
Thank you.
So where does that inspiration from your work come from?
It's hard, the inspiration. I guess I love the industry, you know. I love it, and I love what I do, and it's just, I know it's just offered me so many. I'm a creative person. Yeah. You know, I was at school, I was talkative, I liked things, but I liked art, I liked drama, you know, I like sport, so that's a competitive bit. Yes. So, you know, I loved all those things, and I think it's just giving me an avenue, and once you get your confidence up and you start moving with it, but I'm always researching. I'm always all about fashion. You know, I love everything about it, and I think the styles come from, I don't know, I try to give it somewhere between being commercial and avant-garde and bring it down. Yes. Because I want to challenge people too. You know, I want to challenge what they're thinking about hair. Yes. And so I've always, you know, I've sort of learned what my sort of DNA is as a hairdresser, what I like doing. Yes. But it's just over time, it's working. So I don't think you go from there to there. And again, that's that same thing. I think over the journey of, you know, like winning those awards and that, you just get better at knowing what you like and how you go about it. And you've got quite a signature, you know, style to your hair, and it's interesting seeing other people, you know, sort of mimic or be inspired by your signature looks. Yeah. One of those being, you know, your hair tapestry that is absolutely amazing. Where and how did you come up with that technique? Well, that was interesting, because that was just looking through like blogs when they started coming out, and there was one from a hair festival overseas, and probably Coachella or something like that, and these girls were just sewing strings into hair. Yes. So we came back to the salon. That's where your team's really important. I've got an amazing team, and we work, and so we put it together and go, look, let's try this out, and then that's where it eventuated from. And, you know, you don't get it right the first time. I think you have to keep working at things and keep trying it. And, yeah, it's just an idea like that. And I thought that was cool. So something comes from somewhere always. And then, you know, and then the bone ponies and things like that. Yeah. We just sort of create. They're awesome. Yeah, and I think what I wanted to do, I think there was that period of time where there's photography and then there's hair. And then I guess because I educate a lot, I wanted to be able to create the look in front of people as well. So that was, one of my icons of the industry was Trevor Sorby, and that's what I loved about Trevor Sorby, that, I could go to one of his events and he could show you how he did it right then and there. And you go, oh, fine. Pardon me.
No, it's not just an edited shot. It's creative.
And that's what I think some people get, and that's what I love. That's always the thing, because I think when you started the success and the naysayers again will go, it's just photography and things like that. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to
produce it in real life.
And that was another thing for me. That was my next goal, to be able to produce great work in front of people. And you've got to keep it simple. It can't be, it's intricate, but it's got to be a step process. But again, that's putting time in, and like we do it all the time. We do it in the salon a lot now, and I did it when I was a young apprentice, and I still remember going out, and some people, I was going to trade school back then when I was going to TAFE, and I'd go out Saturday night, and I'd always leave early because I was practicing on the dolly heads the next day, and I used to get, I'd be back and say, no, I've got to go back to the salon tomorrow, I'm going to practice something, so I'd always put time in, and we do that now. We come here on a Sunday morning, and a couple of hours of work, and just play around with ideas, or I guess they're content days. So some days are content about what you put onto your social media. Some content days are about just creating new looks and trying new things. So if you put the time in, you'll get the results.
And you're speaking about icons and people that inspire you. And here we are, ironically interviewing you as an icon of South Australian hair industry, and you touched on, education. How much education are you doing now?
Well, we still educate, and then I still get educated.
Right.
So,
So who educates you?
I guess not long ago, it's been a real big change. We went to Melbourne, and Laura Professional put on a lady called Pink LeBlonde. She's a French Canadian, and I went and watched her, and she really changed a lot of my ideas as well. So I'm always refreshing myself as well, and that really gave me a few new angles of, probably not with my hair artistry work, but more with social media and things, how I change. So I'm always learning myself and being open-minded to it, because at the same time too, you've got to keep fresh. For me, education-wise, always educating. I mean, we travelled, I think, 40 times last year. Wow. So, from all around the world to all around Australia. So, so we're doing a lot.
That is phenomenal. And, we've touched a lot on your, career growth and development, and, kids in this generation are really entrepreneurial. Like, how did you build your brand or your reputation in the industry?
I guess firstly from what I did myself, but then really from my team. I really work hard with my team and my guys that work inside Boris, and I just love giving the opportunities to people, and I think that hairdressing is such an amazing industry, and I love when we love our apprentices. I love getting them into this career and really making them feel important and what they can get from it. So I guess that's our brand of Boris, is really that. It's about this nurturing environment, and we're not just about teaching people about hairdressing, we're about teaching life skills. It's all about, when you get a 16-year-old coming, a 17-year-old working for you, they need to be mentored. So we're all about mentorships where we look after our guys and we teach them to be confident and how they can be successful in their lives, and where they can improve, and where the things they're great at and the things they can get better at. So for me, that's really about what our brand is all about and what hairdressing is about for me. So if you do that, the hairdressing just comes. The ability to do great hair will come from developing the person.
And, touching on the aspiring hairdresser, what's the best piece of advice that, you could give, or have you received in your career by anybody? Yeah,
that's a good question. But the one that always stands out to me, and it was from my uncle, Vince Rinaldo, who's an icon of the industry I met as well. I remember him putting it down, because I was, I don't know, when you're in that stage where you're like, oh, this is hard or not. And I remember him saying to me, he goes, you're here and you want to be here. And this climb is really hard. And it was like the most simplest bit of advice. But once I knew it was going to be hard, I was okay with it being hard. Mm-hmm. Instead of thinking it was going to be easy.
Yes.
So once I sort of gave into that, this will be a challenge. So every time it was a challenge, I go, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. supposed to be hard, so I'm going to keep going.
Yes.
So that's the best advice I've ever been given.
That's really good. You know, like I was sharing with you earlier that I've got a son who wants to get into industry, and you know, if you could give him a piece of advice in relation to what are the things, because the kids love all the shiny stuff, you know, all the tools and all the, I want the best of this. And I was, you know, I remember going back when I had my apprentice kit, and I had my $10 scissors that I used for ages. Like, being now that we've got so much available to us, what kind of tools, what kind of equipment do you think that, you know, is essential for apprentices to have in their kit?
Oh, with their actual kit.
Yeah, with their kit.
Well, you've got to look after it firstly. So, I mean, that's one of the things I try to teach a lot with our cutting classes and stuff like that. Like, if you're going to buy tools, you've got to look after them. And I think that you don't see, I think some people go, people still get surprised now when they go, oh, how much are your scissors? And they're $900 scissors. Oh, wow. It's like, well, it's not really a lot for a pair of scissors.
No.
If you look at how many haircuts you can do.
Correct.
And what that produces. But for me, you need to look after it, you know, and that's taking care and investing a bit at a time. But don't make it overwhelming either. You know, we'll always support our staff inside the salon here with their equipment, but at the same time, build your kit. And for me, it's like you have a bag, and it's, you know, full of your tools, and there's a bag full of all your tricks and the things you learn, and just got to keep them full. So for me, over the years, I've always, when it comes to actual tools, I've just always developed my tools and kept improving them. But firstly, if you've got it, they should be precious to you. That you look after them, you know, and that's what you want. And you do need good tools to do your work.
And don't buy clippers online from Temu.
Well, Temu's pretty good. The girls like Temu. I hear a lot of Temu talk in the back room a lot. They think it's pretty unreal.
Oh, goodness.
So you never know.
All right. Well, we've reached the end of our interview today. Thank you so much for giving us, you know, this awesome insight. Although it's, you know, condensed into this small conversation, you have done so much, like you said, for the South Australian industry, which people, you know, tend to think we're, you know, the little people on the other side. So thank you for your contribution to South Australia. If you could go back and give your younger self one tip, what would it be?
I'll just work hard. Keep working. Just go for it.
No secret, just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going.
Just keep going.
Don't give up. Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself, and, you know, and good things will come from it, you know. And that's still the way it is today, you know. So you've got to back yourself.
Yes. Very good.
Thanks today. It's been great.
Thank you.
Cheers.
1, what's your favourite food?
Pasta.
Okay, good. Question number 2, favourite city that you've ever visited in all your trips?
Oh, that's a lot. I love Lisbon, Portugal.
Portugal?
Yep.
Question 3, what has your mum been absolutely, totally annoyed at you about?
Annoyed about me about? I don't know. My mum's really good. She
never gets
I'm the
annoyed at
prodigal
you.
child. She thinks I do everything right.
I love it. Good answer.
I'm just not allowed to ride motorbikes. That's the only thing ever.
I love it. Good answer. Question 4, who's your favourite soccer team?
Soccer team? Arsenal.
Arsenal, easy answer. Question number 5, if there was anyone in the world that you could meet, who would it be?
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee. All right. And that was 5 with Damien. Thank you.
Cheers.